Again, I welcome to all my children. Type of pollinations. Previously, I explained detailedly. Self pollinations and cross pollination. Transfer of pollen grain on the stigma of a same flower is called self pollination. Transfer of pollen grain from on the stigma of a different flower is called cross pollination. So self pollination, transfer of pollen from on the stigma of a same flower called self pollination. Another is called autogamy. Cross pollination, transfer of pollen grain from one to stigma of another flower. This is known as a grass pollination, known as allogamy. Let's say next agents of pollinations. It is affected many agents are there, like biotic agent, another one is called abiotic agent. And basis of agent as bring out pollinations, there are divided into two anemophily, another one is called majorly abiotic pattern, anemophily, hydrophily, and also there is a different type of agents are there. And biotic agent, entomophily, cheroptophily, zoophily are there. Next we discuss one by one. There are two different type of agent pollination. One is called insect pollination, is called entomophily. It is a biotic factor. Wind pollinated there is called anemophily and abiotic factor. There is several adaptations are seen hence in pollinated by insect and wind. Have large colored petals are they are seen in insect pollination. That why it's attract easy to insect gathering as a transfer of pollen grains. And having a very scent in outdoor will have to blossom on nature. This is to when attract to insect. Have nectary with there is a feed in some of the food material. There is a nectar secreting gland are there, so they have to help to food provide food. And they're having a stigma sticky that able to easy to attached, and there is a stick on the pollen grains. And female and male organs, and when enclosed there is a flower, see there help to adaptation are there. Pollen grains larger which speak to hold on insect as a body. So next best example salvinia. And when pollination have very small and green petals are there, no scent in odor, that why is lightweight and powdery in natures. Have no nectary, there's no secreting as any nectar. So do not in visiting on insect. Have feathery stigma, catch and to easy to help in pollinator by wind. The female male hanging on the outside of the flower, that easy to reach in stigma of pollen grains. Pollen grains smaller, lightweight and carried by wind. So I recall back again. Agency of pollinations. There is a two. One is called abiotic, another one is called biotic agents are there. Abiotic agents, wind, there is anemophily, the pollination done by air. This is called anemophily. And the pollination done by water is called hydrophily. And then anemophily, the best example of grass and paddy and etc. Hydrophily, there is example of Vallisneria is given in your book, and that I told you later. Let's we discuss one by one. Of another way classify into biotic and anemophily, zoophily, insect of entomophily, batsman ornithophily, batsman cheroptophily, snail is called malacophily and is called myrmecophily, and snake is called obiophily. That's we have done pollination done by there's a different type of biotic agents are there. One next come detailedly explain on abiotic agents like wind pollination. Next is the example of wind pollination. The pollination done by wind, that's known as anemophilous. They are generally their wind exposed to suitable of mechanism of their adaptation are there. What are the adaptation of seen in anemophilous plants are there? Flower as produced pentacles are like a catkin or spike in fluorescent majorly. And there is a perianth as moisture often are highly reduced are there. Very small in flower as very low colorless and less colorless. No scent and nectar and secreting are there. Stamens are very many and numerous as to extra to versatile in nature of because easy to move. And the next as easy to burst fallen grains as look like a dusting in natures. For example, given to that small and very numerous in condition of flower. There is Animophilas very large group of pollination. Do not have a bright red color. That's why it's not attract insect and presence of none and nectar nobody seen here. And mostly unisexual flower and male flower more are numerous compared to female flower as to higher level. That's why look like Apollon level. Inflorescence of open earlier. So stamen as to are well exposed to there. Anther are versatile because easy to and attached to the base of the filament of pollen grains. Stigma and branched and feathery increased pollen and reception of pollen grain because it's a capture of pollen grains normally. Pollen grain produce large number. No, that's heaven as a more wastage are there. Small and pale yellow and smooth in when mostly is a winged pollen grains are there. Some may be mostly in Animophilas done by Pinus of gymnosperm. And self wind pollinated plant are like Utrica and exposed to mechanism of there. So that's why it's called a best example of monocot. In majorly it's a monocot done by Animophilae. For example, coconut and grasses or sugarcane, wheat and etc. And some of the dicot plants are there seen as amaranthus and Ginopodium, papaya and oak and canapinus. Serral as example of some dicot made done by Animophilae. Next, shall move to for pollination done by is given your book. For our 12th standard book is given to pollination by geomice and Animophilus. There is a most monoecious and unisexual flower are there. There is inflorescence having as a tassel and a cop are there. As per terminally and also laterally on lower side is called a cop. See the large moist pollen grains as to large and heavy cannot carry the light breeze. There is a main to wind as to act as a pollinations. See the example of two male inflorescence is called tassel, female inflorescence is cop. And to will help to attach to the easy to pollination by Animophilae. So I told you in Tamil, அனிமோஃபில்லி அப்படிங்கிற பார்த்தீங்கன்னா காற்று மூலமாக மகரந்த சேர்க்கைனால தான் அனிமோஃபில்லிங்கிறோம். மேஜராக மோனோகாட்டில் இருக்கக்கூடியது எல்லாமே அனிமோஃபில்லி தான் சொல்கிறோம். இது நடக்கிறதுக்கு என்ன வாய்ப்பு இருக்குன்னா பெரும்பாலும் ஃப்ளவர் வந்து ரொம்ப லைட் வெயிட்டாக இருக்கணும், சின்னதாக இருக்கணும். அப்போ அதாவது என்ன பவுடரியாக இருக்கும், ரொம்ப நிறையா போலன் கிரெயின்ஸ் இருக்கும், காற்றில் ஈஸியாக பரவிட்டு போகிற மாதிரி அதனுடைய அடாப்டேஷன் இருக்கும் அந்த மேல் பார்ட் ஆஃப் த ஃப்ளவரு. அதே மாதிரி ஃபீமேல் பார்ட் ஃப்ளவர் வந்து காற்றுல வர்றதை அப்சர்வ் பண்ணுற மாதிரி அவ்வளோ அழகாக அதனுடைய அடாப்டேஷன்ஸ் இருக்கும். மோஸ்ட்லி வந்து எந்த ஸ்மெல் இருக்காது, நல்ல வாசனை தராது, நெக்டார் அதாவது தேன் சுரக்கிறது இருக்காது. அதனால் எந்த ஏஜெண்ட்டையும் அனிமல் ஏஜெண்ட்டையும் டிஃபெண்ட் பண்ண தேவையில்லை, காற்று மட்டுமே இது மெயினானதாக இருக்குது. அதில் நம்ம புக்கில் என்ன கொடுத்துருக்காங்கன்னா ஜியோ மாய்ஸ்ன்னு கொடுத்துருக்காங்க, மாய்ஸ் பிளான்ட்டு. அதில் 2 டைப் ஆஃப் இன்ஃப்ளாரசன் இருக்குன்னு சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்காங்க. இன்ஃப்ளாரசன்ஸ் அப்படின்னா என்னென்னா குரூப் ஆஃப் ஃப்ளவர் அண்ட் கண்டென்ஸ் டு சேம் ஆக்சிஸ், தி சிங்கிள் ஆக்சிஸ் இஸ் கால்டு இன்ஃப்ளாரசன்ஸு. அதில் மேல் ஃப்ளவருங்கிறது டாசலும், ஃபீமேல் ஃப்ளவருங்கிற காப்புங்கிறோம். அது வந்து 2 டைப் ஆஃப் ஃப்ளவர்ஸ் இருக்குது. மேல் ஃப்ளவர் வந்து டாஸில் வந்து டெர்மினல் டிப்லையும், ஃபீமேல் ஃப்ளவர் வந்து அது கீழே வந்து இருக்குது, லேட்டரலாக இருக்குதுன்னு சொல்லி பார்க்குறோம். காட்டில் பரவுகிற மாதிரி ரேஷன் இருக்கும். ஃபீமேல் ரீப்ரொடக்டிவாக இருக்குன்னா ரொம்ப சில்க்கு ஸ்டிக்மாவாக இருக்குது, அதனால் ஈஸியாக கேப்சர் பண்ணுற மாதிரி இருக்குது. ஓகே, தேங்க்யூ. அண்ட் நெக்ஸ்ட்டு Next, another one abiotic agent of pollinations, hydrophily. The pollination done by what, water. This is called hydrophily. Most is called hydrophilus. There is upper maybe hydrophily, lower is called hyperhydrophily. There is a place of in level of aquatic system. The best example of Wallisneria and Hydrilla, there is example of Eichhornia and different type of plants of flower. There is a pollinated done by hydrophily. See, one is called epihydrophily, another is called hypohydrophily. How adaptation of hydrophily? Pollination carried by water as mostly described hydrophily. Many plants like Ceratophyllum, Wallisneria, Hydrilla, Lemma, Zoostria, as many pollinator type of plants are there. How their adaptation of hydrophily plants? Flower are mostly unisexual, small and inconspicuous nature. Flower do not have a bright color. Present in fragrant and nectar gland. Look like in anemophily. Perianth or taper away as coating. Waxy coating it's widely is open to the exposed of essential wall. Pollen grains produce large number because it's many pollen grains are there released to aquatic in current. Pollen grains without exile. Their waxy coating of lightweight in nature. Specific gravity of pollen grains controlled one of the stem starch grains. Stigma long and sticky waxy coating are there. Flower as unisexually and open under the water surface are there. As depending on totally, partially and submerged, there are two types as called one is called epihydrophily, another one is called hypohydrophily are there. First one is called epihydrophily. Pollination take place on the surface of water is a common type of hydrophily. For example, partially submerged plants are there, Wallisneria, and with dioecious as to bearing of flower as to plant. Male flower are detached from the mother plant. Maturity of parent plants as surface of water. At the pollination of male flower, their bright surface of water help to long cylinder and pedicel stalk are there. So it get their horizontal position, cup-shaped deposit due to the around weight. Two stamens of flower are exposed, male floating on the water surface of toward cup-shaped dispersed to female flower. Anther conduct exposed stem transfer of pollen grains with there is a spiral twisting and the nature. Simply, there is a epihydrophily is deposited to aquatic water system, and there is a help to pollination occur in above the water level. This is called a epihydrophily. Example of Wallisneria and also Elatea. So our book given one of the example. So best example of hydrophily of epihydrophily Wallisneria spirillus. Male flower and female flower are there. Ribbon shaped leaves are there because too flexible to water current in nature. Male inflorescence seen in here. And root. Male inflorescence add to release to the water aquatic current. There is very lightweight. Then when floating in the water surface of area. But female flower there is a bearing of many cup-like organ. When the male flower unable to transfer water current, then reached into stigma of a female flower. Then this is called a adaptation seen in Wallisneria and epihydrophily. Next, hypohydrophily. Next adaptation is called hypohydrophily. Pollination with help of water and take place below the surface of water is called a hypohydrophily. See, totally submerged or marine plants are there, hydrophyte. Example of Ceratophyllum, Zoostria marina, that's example of there. Plant are bisexual, individual flower as unisexual. Their male flower contain 3 to 40 of stamen. A mature as to anther gets separated base of the front of surface of water where there is digest to liberated pollen grains. Pollen grains need to specific gravity because to fall into the close to land. and there is germinated on the swing of the female flower. Example, Soostria marina, and there is extremely needle like resemble to pollen tube. Next, move to anemophilus like grass biotic agents are there. So I recall to back again of cross pollination of allogamy, ஏபயோட்டிக் ஏஜென்ட்ஸ், அனிமோஃபிலி அண்ட் விண்ட் வாலினேஷன்ற டைம் பார்த்தோம். அனிமோஃபிலிங்கிறது காற்று மூலமாக இருந்துச்சு நடக்கிறது. ஹைட்ரோஃபிலிங்கிறது வாட்டர் மூலமாக இருந்துச்சுன்னா நடக்கிறது. ஒவ்வொன்றுக்கும் ஒரு அடாப்டேஷன் நடக்குன்னு பார்த்தோம். அடுத்து பயோட்டிக் ஏஜென்ட்ஸை பற்றி பார்ப்போம். பயோட்டிக் ஏஜென்ட்ஸ் அப்படின்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா த ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் ஆஃப் போலன் கிரெயின் from anther to stigma of a flower with help to living organism. For example, canthrophily as pollination done by beetle, palinophily pollination done by moth, malatophily pollination by bees, psychophily pollination by butterfly, and malacophily pollination by snail, ornithophily pollination done by birds, and geroptophily pollination by bird, and myrmecophily pollination by ants. These are way to usefully because animal study of animal is called zoology. Let's we discuss one by one. The first one is called pollination done by birds. It's some common plants are pollinated by birds. For example, erythrina and also bombax, bignonia, Strelitz originae, and there is need to hummingbirds and sunbirds and honey eaters. There are many birds are visiting to the planet regulated by pollination. This is called ornithophily. So the example is equal to pollination done by bats. The good example are ornithophily, bats, pollination done by bats in your book. So ornithophily, their character very usually large in size of flower there. Flower as a tubular, cup shaped or seen there is because the flower light brightly color, secrete a pink, orange and blue color because attract bats. Flower are sent and put out a large quantity of nectar. That's why to visiting of birds to help to absorption of pollen grains. And there is a leather we stand of combat visiting the natures. Next one. Next is Seraptophily, pollination done by bats. Some common Seraptophilous plants are there. Adasonia digitata or Pigilia africana. There is a best example of Seraptophily is mainly depending on the pollinations. See the example given to Seraptophily flower. Flower are free exposed to large tough in natures. Opening as evening because to when there is a fat is called nocturnal play in mammals. Strong strength to of rotating broods are there. Bats nectar has produced a very large amount of the flower adamsomia. There is a 1500 to 2000 stamen are there. That bat is transport to pollen distance 30 kilometer. That's able to germinate this kind of. Next, pollination done by insect. It mainly majority of angiosperm is depending on this kind of pollination only, entomophily, because pollination by insect and also this is called ant and etc. all belongs to this bearing of group. Pollination done by ant is called myrmecophily. Pollination done by beetle is called canthrophily. Pollination done by is called butterfly psychophily, and pollination done by is abyss also bees is called melatophily. Pollination done by moth is called palinophily. As to different type of pollination is a majority including this called entomophily. How their adaptation of this entomophily character are there? Flower are generally is a large in brightly color in natures, and tense inflorescence in and flower bright colored and will attract to insect. for example bougainvillea. Next, flower are sent and produce nectar. Next, well, an example of jasmine and also etc. Even for example coconut, some is nectar secreting is there. Flower pollinated pollination beetle as adore attract to easy to pollinations. It help to flower juicy as to present when there is a beers to contain of sucking up by the insect. For example, Lucas aspera. Some example of entomophilia flower are there. See that's example. These are all including canthrophily and pelanophily, melitophily, psychophily, and these all the three area of the majority done by entomophily only. The good example of pollination by Salvinia and liver mechanism of entomophily. There is a flower is a protonterus and rhizome mature earlier than gynoecium. See there is a bibulate stamen are there. It mechanism to help semen. Upper as a fertile lobe are seen and lower is called a sterile and lobe are there. When bees are visiting on flower, the lower leaf act as a platform, enter to the when a pollen can sucking the first into the head on the corolla. During the entry of bees into flower, the body stick is to sterile and connective, become a sterile part of stamen descending sterile back to the bee, the deposit on the pollen grains. When receive another one flower, then can able to easy to germinated transfer of pollen grains. Example of Aristologia, Arum, and also Asclepiaceae family and Papillinaceae family. Moreover, there is seen in here. This mechanism of look like Salvinia. Okay, previously pollination பற்றி நம்ம பார்த்தோம். அது எண்டமோஃபிலி ஜூஃபிலியில் எண்டமோஃபிலிங்கிறது. அனிமோஃபிலின்னு பார்த்தோம். அனிமோஃபிலியில் எண்டமோஃபிலி வந்து மேஜராக நடக்கூடியது அஞ்சியோஸ்போமில். ஏன்னா இன்செக்ட் மூலம் பரவுது. அதுபோக பேட்டு, வண்டு, ஸ்னைலு, ஈவன் ஆண்ட், எறும்பு, இது எல்லா மூலமே பாலினேஷன் நடக்குன்னு பார்த்தோம். அதுக்கு ஒவ்வொன்றும் ஒரு அடாப்டேஷன் இருக்குன்னு பார்த்தோம். அப்போ இதனுடைய மெரிட்ஸ் அண்ட் டிமெரிட்ஸ். லெட்ஸ் வி டிஸ்கஸ் அபவுட் மெரிட்ஸ் அண்ட் டிமெரிட்ஸ் ஆஃப் செல்ஃப் அண்ட் கிராஸ் பாலினேஷன். Merits of self-pollination, it's your method of pollination of bisexual flower. It almost contain a bisexual flower only. When a number of species and common or separate large distance as depending on pollination. The changes of grass pollinations of will changes to here place of prevent extinction of species. And disadvantages know that not desirable to character of variety in hybrid variety is not producer. When weaker of progeny in know that hybrid is cannot able to changes, cannot produce new species when there is a next we see advantages of grass pollinations. What are way to advantages of grass pollination are there? The grass pollinations, they are always result to bring about of very healthier because to offspring. Germination of capacity much is better. Adaptation of plant in good environmental in natures, but disadvantages are there. It's depending on external agency as to process of uncertain. Various devices have been adapted. Attractive pollination of agent is needed. So mainly pollination is pre-requesting a process of fertilization because it helps to fertilization and need lead to formation of post-fertilization changes like seed and fruit. இப்போ பாலினேஷனுக்கு ரொம்ப முக்கியம் ஃபர்டிலைசேஷனுக்கு. அதனால தான் சீடு ஃப்ரூட்லாம் நம்ம உருவாகுது. கிராஸ் பாலினேஷன் ரொம்ப முக்கியமாக இருக்கனால தான் நம்ம வந்து ஹைப்ரிட் வெரைட்டி அப்படிங்கிறத நம்ம உருவாக்க முடியுது. If you any doubt further inquiry to chat my mobile number and as to mobile number or chat my WhatsApp. Thank you children. And next week I uploaded for another one video for fertilization.